I am Amy Cole, and I am an executive recruiter, staffing for the last 21 years in consumer goods manufacturing. So apparel, home, beauty, you name it. You guys make a product, somebody makes a product that sells to Lowe's, Home Depot, to TJ Maxx, or to Saks. We are staffing. So that means that we need salespeople. That means we need project management people. We need logistics and supply chain. We need e-commerce. We need people like Daniel Rocker, who's going to speak today about all of the digital type marketing and how to get products out there in a new way today. So that is what we do. We are a staffing agency, Amy Cole Connect. I am also a career coach the past 10 years and feel very fortunate that I have been doing a great deal of leadership and development training. So it's been fun. What a ride. As you know, during COVID, we've done a lot of different new things and we've been coaching a great deal, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I always want to invite you to understand exactly where you are and what you're doing. You are here to get your professional edge on. I'm a bit of a sassafras, which I absolutely adore. So in addition to staffing, one of the things that I feel is really important is helping you, the candidate pool, or there's hiring managers on the call, so forgive me, there's small businesses on the call, there are many of you that are working, but should we all be in an advancing their career, advancing your business stage? Guess what? You have to shit or get off the pot. It's pivot or pound the pavement today with the way things have changed so greatly. So I say, get your professional edge on, whether you're a small business, you're an executive already in the workforce and want some more advancement and some type of promotion, you're on a board, or you're here looking for help in finding a new job. It's time that we get our professional edge on. And it is not a rock 'em and sock 'em and let's get the boxing gloves out, but it's about presenting yourself and your career expertise for relevance in this market. Relevance in this market. So what is Virtual Breakfast? We are informational, we are inspirational, it's a quick hour, it's a resource. These are career connections. This is taking your place of your industry association breakfast, like I always say, or wherever you find that you used to network, this is the place. So make sure you take a look around at all the Hollywood squares and say hi and hey everybody and good to see you, and because this is a family and I feel so fortunate that that's where we're at, that after this calendar year of making Virtual Breakfast happen consistently, we are leaders, we are professionals from various backgrounds, which is another thing that I pride myself on. This is a great group of expertise in this room. No judgment. You kids need something, I need something, we're welcome to share that. We're welcome to share that. We're highly motivated and mission driven. Why do I bring that up? It means something to me. I love my work because I love to see men and women excited about their next challenge in their career. Now, your career has so many ties to it, right? Your financing, helping your family grow, mental health. If you're busy and productive, you feel stronger. But not only that, it's just that I happen to love to watch alongside of that. So when I say that we're highly motivated and mission driven, most men and women on this call that I know, and always good to see you, I can say you're mission driven. I don't know. I just happen to, we spiral up together. And I talk a lot about that in the networking thing, but it's wonderful. This can be a personal advisory board if you need anything. You've got people of all different levels on this call. So it's for all of us, this call. You know that. I feel empowered by you. I hope you feel empowered. It's for accountability. I say every week that I want us to be focused, not fear focused, unfocused, but rather strategy focused. Or at least take a look at where you are in those three. Nobody's judging again, but wherever you're at, let's try to move you into some of the strategy focus mode. And you know what? I say that because I come from a faith-based place. I have felt, and this is exciting, and I didn't think about talking about this, but I should, crazy peace lately. Crazy. I just, maybe it's the vaccination, maybe it's, less rhetoric on TV all day just because of our new administration, whether you like them or not, no big deal. But I just have a sense of peace that I honestly am even journaling about, saying, Aim, where is this coming from? Well, we know that I have a great amount of faith, and I do believe God's got a plan for me and for you, and that peace is the way to rebuke the enemy, right? Is the way to stand ground as we go through things that are uncomfortable and new. Because I shouldn't have tons of peace right now. Let's just be clear. We're recruiting, but this much compared to our past. But I have a strong sense of peace, and I do stand on that. So I hope that's what you feel when you join us on Wednesdays. We are a network to help you build out that peace. And, you know, as we go through new adventures and new learning, and as I'm trying to talk to all of us, myself included, believe me, as we adapt to the new realities, then that's what I want to feel as I go through it. I don't want to be dumbfounded or struck or frozen by all the new things. I want to look at it as exciting challenges. So we're definitely stronger together. I do love that. I consider you a very dear inner circle, and I hope I can share that, even though it's a group setting. I hope you do know from the guts. You write to Amy Cole or ask me to jump on the call for a minute. I am here for you. So every week we have an inspired guest. I can't wait to invite Daniel in to speak. It's going to be a minute. It's all on industry intel, whether it's categorical in our manufacturing world, or if it's in health and beauty, or if it's in medical, or if it's in supply chain down the road in a whole different category. Generally, every industry has such similarities that there is a place for us to learn from. Whatever's happening in another industry is probably happening in our industry as well. Everyone is turned upside down. Everyone is thinking of new ways. Many C-suite people are sitting at drawing boards today saying, do we take a right or do we take a left? Or do we take a right for 2 weeks and see what happens? In the past, they would decide a certain trajectory and stick to it for a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, 12-year plan. And if it didn't work, cut bait. Today, we're making decisions like this. We don't know the decision we're going to make the next 2 months. So it is really a pivoting situation. Now, I say that for you as a professional, and I say that for companies, because I am calling on companies. My target audience that Amy Cole calls on every day are mid-sized companies that would hire executives at your level and that would use a recruiter. Right? If I call someone that's too small and they don't have the funds to use a recruiter, then they're not my target audience. So first and foremost, for everybody on here, whether you're looking for a job or doing your small biz, guess what? Who's your target audience? Need to identify that. I'm not going to go into that today, but it just made me think of that. So, you know, the market is definitely opening. I feel it more and more. I have more business development productive calls. Okay, I've had a year of chat calls. Now they're turning into productive conversations where the follow-up is because they may have an opening that they can give to a recruiter. And it's happening more and more. I've got quite a few calls today, as a matter of fact, had a few yesterday. Every week it seems to be growing. So that feels really great. So I'm happy that we can all be ready as the whole work-life paradigm shifts. Every day I have the question about work from home. We'll talk about that on another Zoom. It's incredible what companies think and then what you guys think in the market. But it's going to be different. It's going to be competitive. So I don't have tons of time right now to get into all of the, what you guys need to build out where you need to go. But I will give you an opportunity to work with us later on in the call. I will invite you to a way that you can engage Amy Cole Connect, our coaching, to help better fit your world. Okay. Last week, we talked about listening and how it would benefit all of us to listen with curiosity. And it was funny because, you know, we always talk for the week and then I go back and I read my journal, which helps me even get to the thought of what we're going to talk about. And, you know, listening on interviews. Are we listening or do we already have the response ready, right? Am I listening on the business development calls or am I already Amy Cole chatting, right? And not listening to what this man or woman that could use us as a company may need. So, you know, I'm glad that we talked about taking the time to create our answers, taking the time to listen, to assimilate what we're taking in so that we can then platform our response in the most beneficial way for the man or woman asking. Interviewing is the number one thing to think about. Business development, when you're calling, when someone's interested in your services, are you listening to what their needs are, right? So that was kind of fun. But I want to ask you guys, did anyone this week listen differently at all? Did they think about that piece? I'd love to throw it in the chat. Did anyone listen differently? No? Nobody listened to New Biz Dev? No one listened to, okay, here we go. Absolutely. Okay. Hi, Steve. I see your stuff. Put together. Okay. Okay. Guys, I see, and I love Rasha, but I can't take this in this minute. So that would be something you should email me. Okay. All right. Happy Wednesday listening. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Cindy Ray says, absolutely. Give me an example, Cindy Ray. You are a small business. Let me actually open up this dialogue to you. I want to hear what you have to say. Where's Cindy Ray go? Right here.
It's interesting because I am a small business. Good morning, everybody.
Yes.
So happy to be here.
And name, title, and industry, please. Yes.
Cindy Ray. My title is owner and president of C. Ray and Associates, and we also do C. Ray's Thought Pops. Name, title, and industry.
Events.
Special events.
Yeah. Okay.
Special events. Yeah.
So where did you listen differently today?
I talked to several people this past week about Thought Pops, and I always have this play in my head of what I'm going to say and how I'm going to show them how it can work and all those good things. And I didn't go in it this week. This week I was like, what can I help you with? What are your needs? How can I better help you and serve you and make this more effective for you? And then just sat back and listened and turned that tape off in my head.
Good for you. Did you do it cognizantly?
Oh yeah, I had to. Definitely had to think about it. You bet.
That's fantastic. Okay, fantastic. I love it. Well, that was what last week was about. Cindy Ray, love you. Thank you for sharing. That was really, about talking, listening before we respond. Yes, and Cindy Ray, my thought pops are in the other room, so I don't have one, but I have a set of, don't ask, I would put it up. That's exactly what we're talking about is, are we always, Steve I says, listening is my job. Brian Gill at a board meeting, he had to listen differently. Talk about being on boards, right? How many different personalities, how many different opinions do we have to take in on a board and be respectful? Many of us live in New York City, so we're on boards within a co-working living environment today. Right. And I want the roof taken. I would like to build a roof deck for $300,000. And I really just want the elevator to go to my floor more quickly. I mean, spectrum differences, but you've got to get through this stuff. So when I left last week, and I've been really being on top of it because of business development, and I love Cindy Ray saying that she just decided to serve all day long. It really does make a difference. It also helps the body language of the man or woman on the other end of the phone come down. Right? They're no longer getting sold something. Oh, what can I do for you? It brings their nervous system down. What can I do for you when I take this job? Correct? We want to be authentic. We want our truth to show. We want the integrity of who we are as human beings when we ask service-driven questions to come through. And as I do every week, and I read Harvard Business Review and other Forbes, and mostly on human development, mostly on leadership, to be honest with you, and educating your teams and motivating teams, because that's what my passion is. Guess it's all coming down, and this is all over LinkedIn, that people are hiring for EQ. We bring this up all the time, emotional intelligence, but it's almost becoming more important. So people are saying hire for attitude, and Daniel Rocker is a great example of this, and willingness to learn, because you can teach skill sets. Now, why is this happening like kooky right now in 2021? It's happening because COVID and the disruption of digital and how quickly it catapulted in a 12-month period. We're coming up on a year. Skills are becoming obsolete more quickly. Your skills are becoming obsolete more quickly. Now, of course, I've got to look at this. I'm coaching executives. I'm working with getting you guys a role. So, we can motivate we can educate on a skill, but I can't give you motivation to educate yourself or to be a leader or to engage, right? So because of this colossal disruption, and because large organizations are looking at big companies and saying, if we're obsolete in 18 to 24 months, I still want to retain that girl guy. I still want to retain that client, Cindy Ray. She's got to be flexible, agile. Her products have to have some leeway. Where else can they go, right? They're hiring risk takers now. We're hiring knowledge seekers all day long, people that are flexible and agile and that live that way constantly. So I ask myself, what am I telling myself as I'm going, am I still using Amy Cole old school recruiting ideas? Or am I also showing that I am forward thinking when I'm saying hello to these new business partners? One good thing I would like to share with everybody, because it makes my heart sing, thank goodness, you're hiring people, people are people, and you do need to get to know people. AI cannot take away or cannot replace the human touch of hiring and making handshakes in business. We are always people, we are always dependent upon social cues, upon social interaction. So don't be fear-based that some of this digital, it's going to change automation and efficiency for getting your Amazon box filled and taped and sent to your house. Yes, you're right. Right? But having actual dialogue, strategic meetings where we should and how do we buy AI? How do we buy robots for Amazon? Those are still going to be conversational, where you need to be a leader and have an influence and speak and communicate with and articulate well. Right? So what are we telling ourselves? You know, I ask everybody because I'm asking myself, are we educating ourselves to be relevant? Or are we just hoping that things come back and we fit in the market when it comes back? I mean, you read a couple more books and let me tell you, that's a very dangerous headset. Super dangerous headset. Dangerous for Amy Cole, dangerous for any small business, dangerous for any executive looking for work, right? You know, are you speaking the truth to yourself is what I'm actually asking. Are you really speaking the truth to yourself? Like, holy Toledo, you know what? That's right. I got to change this. I know for me, sometimes I'm all talk. You know, are we talk or an action taker, right? I mean, I'm a mix. I'm always upfront. I'm a rock steady action taker, right? COVID happened a year ago and next week is a year. And guess what? We went. We're done. We got this going. A whole new method for me. Fun, 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 fun. Felt great. Kept the culture alive. Kept my community alive. You and I still have this a year later. Where it is and where it goes, I'm just letting the Lord decide. Because I do know that this is a great place to be filled on a weekly basis and to share education and for you to share education with me, right? But I can procrastinate like the best of them. Kick ass procrastinator. You just met her. Amy Cole loves it. 10 o'clock at night. I'm always like, oh, I should have gotten that done. Oh, why didn't I get back to that person? That guy said he might be hiring. Now I let it go 3 days, right? So that really hurts. You know, oh shoot, I didn't get my taxes and I promised him I'd get that done this week. You know, it's that kind of stuff. And I feel like, did you send a thank you note for that conversation? I'm going to bring it around to you guys a little bit. When you are networking, are you being appreciative of that? Are you showing great gratitude? Those are the soft skills people are hiring. Willing to put yourself out there, being humble. This meant a world to me that you got on this call. Thank you so much. Right? You think you've said it, but have you really said it? Have you gone out of your way? It's also another way to glue that bond, right? Appropriateness. But here I am, little Miss Procrastinator. It's 10 o'clock. I've got virtual breakfast tomorrow. Holy Toledo. Let me just get my act together. Really? Amy, you can't, it comes up every week. You can't get it organized, you know, earlier. So, you know, after fooling around, I then, and being upset with that piece, I put kerosene on the fire by being very self-critical. Why didn't you do it? What do you, you know, and then you feel guilty and you should on yourself. I should have. Well, negative delete. Don't should on yourself. Nothing's a should. All of this is learning. Listening is learning. Listening to what we're taking in and what are we looking at as the truth, right? Right? The other thing I find when you do let things go that are not that you let things go and you procrastinate on is then when you finally do it, you're in a time crunch. Oh, I got to get this out. So you kind of just go with it. You don't have that clarity and the freedom to be strategic. When I get back to this woman with she gave me some time on the phone. I just want to thank her, but I also want to be a resource for her. What could I do for her, right? To keep that line of communication open. That's really it. Because we don't know. We don't know where things could open up. So, you know, I always want to take that time to be best prepared to respond. But when you set yourself up with the procrastination piece, you're in trouble, right? So I want to just get into 2 seconds because I actually wrote down this week. I always have a list. Amy calls a list, but I put it in just 3 colored pens. BizDev is on the top and I put $ in green. I am to be on the phone and it's my least favorite thing. To be on the phone and introducing myself. Why? I just am shy. I don't know. I don't seem shy. I don't love selling. I don't love that, right? But all of us, here are the tricks to set ourselves up for all of this education that we're going to need in this new world, right? Getting a job, getting new clients. Cindy Ray said she's going to listen differently. What is your ultimate goal? Is it get a job? Maybe it's personal. Maybe it's you want to build a home garden, right? You want to start a little farm in the backyard. Maybe under the get a job, it's explore new opportunities outside of your market. But you haven't because you know what? It's daunting. I don't know much. Where do I step? How do I dip my toe in to environments that make me uncomfortable, right? So I want you to rank those things. Take that job. Yeah, whiffed in mind. Thank you, Lisa. Absolutely. Yes. What's in it for them? Keeping it in mind, what's in it for them. Yes. That's another topic, but absolutely. So guess what? Let's just go with get a job. What are the things that you are not speaking the truth to yourself about? That you're just going to get a job, it's all going to come back? You being realistic, right? Whatever it is that you may see as possibly a hurdle, I want you to put the big chunks that you've got to get done to reach that goal in the morning. They say, eat the frog. I don't know if you guys have heard that. Eat the frog. Do the thing that's going to move the needle first. Don't procrastinate till 10 o'clock. Virtual breakfast means the world for me. Why would I wait till 10 o'clock on Tuesday night? Right? It just comes up so fast, but that's what happens. But you know, the days I enjoy it on a Sunday and think about what I want to chat with you guys about on a Sunday, it's so much more joyful, right? It takes a discipline. But so the first thing I want you to do is eat the frog. What is the number one thing that's going to move the needle to your ultimate goal? Cindy Ray getting new clients. Let's just use this. Is it that she needs a list of targets of companies that would be a size that's appropriate for her? If that's it, then do that first, right? Is it just getting on the phone? Right? Whatever it is, you want to do the most difficult thing first. And that's often the least favorite of our things to do. That's why they say eat the frog. Then the rest of your day is a little bit more open, right? And you didn't skip out on it. You got yourself going. That's what's going on here. And just by identifying the action, this is something that I think is kind of interesting because the minute you put your three things and just use colored markers, you're halfway there. You are so halfway there. I have to do biz dev, aim. Just get on the phone. I'm now better about a list. I'm using a planner internally with technology now. I used to always write it into my calendar. Well, my CRM has a planner. For 16 years, I haven't really used the planner. Why? It's just another feature and another feature. Well, now guess what? They all link together. I go to that planner. It tells me I'm calling him, and that's what we're talking about. I know that sounds basic. Ding-a-ling, but I'm finally putting into play. I'm speaking the truth into myself. Those are successful businesses. They're using the technology. So I'm not going to sit back and write my little notes every day and rewrite my lists every morning. Okay. It's in the computer. It's on there. We are technology driven. That's where we're going. And I have to jump in that. Right. So you want to break these bigger things into smaller digestible parts is the other piece so that you don't should on yourself and you don't feel that you didn't get anywhere. Any motion, small motion, little motion, digestible, doable, sets you on the trajectory. You get excited. You did it. You accomplished it. Accomplishments feel good. Procrastination is draining. So what are we telling ourselves when we're listening again for the truth? What are we telling ourselves? That it's okay to procrastinate? That's right. Even small steps are progress. Yes. Right. And action breeds energy. That's a whole nother thing, right? How about the darn shoulder that we got over here? Well, I worked out for about 2 weeks, felt great. Haven't done it for a week. I'm like a mess. It's a discipline. I have to prioritize. You and I have to prioritize. Where do we want to go? If we want out of our industry, then go into the uncomfortable conversations with people that are doing stuff that you think is interesting to you and that has a transferable element to it. We got to put ourselves in truth, speaking to ourselves, listening to our own truth, and then eating the frog, determining what it's going to take to get there, break it in, and discipline ourselves to getting that. I mean, I'm going to say something for everyone. Pardon me. I don't know how you guys are, so it's all good, but you know, sometimes we just have to walk away from the TV and the news and skip Netflix and do a TED Talk instead on a topic that may be something that you could learn from, right? Change up the old dialogues with your friends and your colleagues. Instead of, oh, the market's crap and can you believe our industry? Yeah, I can. It's done. Move on. 12 months later, what's the new? Yes, that sounds fun. Let's talk about that. We should meet someone that can really talk about that. We should go to an event that can really talk about that, right? It's time to change it up. Read the business magazines that are out there, not Vanity Fair, which is something that I tend to quickly procrastinate to. It's my Vanity Fair, right? So I'm still on listening because now I'm listening to me, to my truths. So speak the truth to yourself about what you're listening to, also where you're spending time. And I love how I now say hello to people that would not be in my realm at all. We say yes to every dialogue at this company, Amy Cole Connect. Every conversation that someone wants to have, we open our ears. Someone on my team listens, right? And it's helping us so that we listen to new and different voices so that they teach me about what's going on, however foreign something might be to me. And believe me, things are foreign on a daily basis. When I talk to logistics and supply chains that are using robots, it's foreign. It's foreign. Hello, but I'm listening. It helps me embrace the diverse opinions and options that are out there. And are they relevant to my business, Amy Cole Connect, Small Amy Cole Connect? Are they relevant to you, Elaine and Monica, right? Are they relevant? I don't know. But we're never going to go back to COVID, from COVID. And everybody that has been hiring is hiring flexibility, agility, fast learners, risk takers. Those are the same businesses that are succeeding right now. They're pivoting, they're flexible, they're agile, right? We're moving, we're embracing new, we're changing, we're putting on virtual breakfasts, right? So I just want to have you guys, and I you know how I am every week, but I do share in addition to who the guest is going to be, because Daniel Rocker is this type of guy that constantly learns, which we have many of our guests that are just such seekers, knowledge seekers, and that excites me too. I think it's just inspirational. But I want you to set yourselves up for this new success in this new paradigm. And happiness is success. So it does not mean you need to go out and get a big fancy job. Don't, if I'm putting that on you, negative delete. That's not what I'm saying. Whatever's bringing you joy right now, whatever you need, I just want you to take a look at the ultimate things that you'd like to achieve personally and professionally, and make sure that you're listening and being truthful about whether you're procrastinating because it's something you don't want to face, or you think something's just going to pop into your lap, or you are really taking those action steps. So you're already eating the frog. Hats off, right? So I want to invite Daniel to come say hello. Daniel, as I said, is always, well, let me share one other thing before I get excited. Daniel, don't go. Every week at Virtual Breakfast, we talk about the 5 P's of your professional edge. I'm going to go quickly. Purpose, brand, profile, partnerships, and positioning. I have met people like Daniel because of my partnerships in the business. I am calling on them for business acumen. I'm calling on them to see if they're hiring. I'm calling them to see if they need a job, because he is in categories that I see growing. You'll notice that with our speakers. We are speaking to men and women that are in categories on fire. So what's Amy doing is moving into categories constantly and having dialogue, and excited dialogue, and therefore I learn. Okay, so we don't know each other very, very well. I do know he just injured himself, but he's feeling a lot better. But Daniel, I ask that you just say your name, and thank you for looking so handsome. Your name, your title, and your industry, and then I'm going to give a little background on you. I have it all here.
All right, perfect. So my name is Daniel Rocker. I oversee B2B and B2C marketing for Perfect Corp. And we are in beauty technology, which is the category that doesn't really exist. It's something that we've essentially built, and it's a combination of tech and beauty.
Okay. And I mean, from my point of view, you've done it all. You've done the Red Bull, which would be food and beverage. You've done Kenneth Cole, which would be basic. I mean, I think it was footwear. Or was it apparel or footwear?
It was actually in watches. So accessories.
Okay, accessories.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. Okay. And so, I mean, you've done and again, I want you to share more, but you've done the high level brand marketing for those kind of people. And then now you're somehow doing like app marketing and experiential marketing. And how did that come about? How did that whole thing come about? You've lived overseas. I mean, you have a very, very varied, and you've embraced a lot of new things throughout your career. That was the first thing I met when I met you. I loved it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I like to say that I'm a traditional marketer. So I'm ex L'Oreal, I'm ex Estee Lauder in beauty. I've worked in traditional categories in fashion accessories, so licensing in watches and eyewear. And I saw about 5 years ago that there was really a shift in the marketplace, and digital was happening very rapidly. And I wanted to kind of ride that wave. And so subsequently started looking for different opportunities, ways to learn skill sets, and found General Assembly, ended up subsequently taking 2 different courses with them. And that is kind of where the interest was piqued, and then ultimately led to where I am now. That's a very tidy bow on
Okay, that's a
long
tidy bow, but
story.
no, but I love it in General Assembly for those that need to write down. Obviously, it's got some educational coursework to it. Tell me a little bit about, so are you in a corporate environment like a L'Oreal and an Esty and saying, I need to be somewhere that's more forward? I'm just curious. I mean, we're not throwing those guys under the bus, but large companies can't always pivot as quickly as small companies can.
Sure. So yeah, that's essentially the truth. And you know, a lot of these larger organizations just have there's just a lot of layers. And you know, part of that provides job security because you know, you go from an assistant manager to a manager to a senior manager to a director, and like that's like your course. That's your career path, and that's great. And some people love that. I felt like I couldn't fail there. So I felt like there was, I guess the best way to put it is that there was like a net, and were bumpers, and you couldn't really make huge mistakes. And I was wanting to be in a business and a role where I could make mistakes. And because you know, you're reading all the things like fail fast and fail forward, and
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted to do. And so I looked for opportunities to go to different organizations where those kind of guardrails would come off, and ultimately was able to move into a role with Perfect Corp, really through networking, because it was one of my old bosses
Okay, I was going to ask how you got
L'Oreal.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of my old bosses that was at L'Oreal. He knew me, he knew my work ethic, he knew my skill sets, and the position was available. I moved in, and then have just subsequently, like, you know, really jumped into app marketing and augmented reality and artificial intelligence, and, you know, just continuous learning.
Okay, so this guy knew you. He knew you had
Mhm.
the business acumen. What do you think? And I asked this later, but let's ask right now. Did he see in you? Are you a numbers guy? Are you a data guy? Are you just a very aware of the marketplace? Do you love technology? Have you always been a geek, or like, I don't know?
I would say that just a natural born problem solver.
Okay,
And
good one.
I think that's like the number one thing for me. So I can figure out solutions for anything. I love Google and YouTube, and okay, let me figure out how to do this home renovation project that I didn't know how to do. So kind of, I think that's the piece. And he just knew that I had the traditional experience from the big organizations
Yeah.
to bring structure and systems to a startup environment.
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you, just because I'm actually talking to someone that's hiring someone strictly for her systems and her structure, she comes from Urban Outfitters, and she says, Aim, don't get me wrong, our processes aren't perfect, which of course we know that, but in your big firms, you do have that. So yeah, does that help you a lot, having that corporate, that SD and that L'Oreal background, just because of the way your mind puts projects together?
Yeah, you know, I think the difference is that in those larger organizations, you're used to having a meeting with your planning team and a meeting with your logistics teams and with your, you know, PR teams. Whereas it's now not a meeting, it's you setting an hour aside and figuring out, okay, what are my timelines? What do I need to build into my schedules? And then working with other cross-functional teams that planning isn't their only job, right? So it's understanding the full scope and full breadth to be able to bring it together in a much more lean environment.
So with this new beauty, because you guys are a front runner, you happen to mention AI and AR. Can you go into that for a minute? What the heck does that mean with Rouge and Beauty? I mean, I know, as you know, I know Emily Culp, who is a part of Beauty FX, which I know they've got some. This is kind of, the women on this call will like this. They've created a brush, and this is not Daniel's company, but I don't want to take away. But Beauty FX has taken a brush where you add your concealer, your overall shine thing. I don't even know all this. I'm not a girly girl that way. But in one, this is for Zoom calls. You put it in the base of the brush, and all three come out, and you do this quickly before you get on Zoom. literally. And as you can imagine right now, as men and women have to jump to this tune, oh, I've got another meeting, I've got another meeting, how we look matters. So they're not getting dressed, they've got, you know, sweatpants on the bottom, but they need that quick fix. And that's something that they came up with. So I'm just curious. So what does AI, automated, artificial intelligence and augmented reality have to do with beauty at all, period? What the heck?
Yeah,
What the heck?
yeah. So really, augmented reality is essentially the quickest and easiest way is like any of the filters that you think of on Instagram or Snapchat or on social media. If you
Yes.
think about like, you know, the crazy silly ones where you're putting on a hat or you're putting on crazy glasses, that sort of thing. So we've taken that kind of technology, the gamification of it, and built a professional use case. So we work with over 300 beauty brands and retailers,
Okay.
and we have almost 200,000 SKUs that are color matched in our system. So literally, we are matching the lipstick that you would see at the beauty counter digitally to show fully from like the actual color to intensity to the finish, from like matte, shiny, gloss.
Am
So
I
it really
scanning
looks.
myself in? Am I scanning myself in, or am I telling you that I'm a fair skin tone or something like that?
So there's definitely like there's 17 different solutions that we have. But like the augmented reality piece of it is essentially allowing you to do virtual makeup try on. And you can imagine that this is highly coveted in the COVID world because,
Yeah.
and just generally beauty, you know, makeup testers are kind of unsanitary, and so you can do all of that in you know, virtually, and then purchase the product straight from the website that we're working with. Like Estee Lauder is one of our closest partners.
So you're an aggregator of content.
Yeah, and so we're essentially white labeling the solution for an Estee Lauder to put our technology onto their website, into their stores, on their beauty counters, really across all touch points that on their consumer journey.
Interesting. Okay, so in fairness to you, you're marketing and branding innovation for them, right? What's your title exactly?
So I'm the head of consumer marketing and brand partnerships.
Okay, so a brand partner would be an Estee Lauder.
They could be, but we also have 2 consumer-facing apps. And with those consumer-facing apps, I'm actually doing a bit of business development and reaching out to organizations that are outside of the beauty industry to create content within our apps that you know, can create like very different, you know, just content and marketing creation. Like we just launched a partnership with Paramount Plus and the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah.
So in both of our apps, we've created a whole slew of content, makeup filters, photo editing effects that all tie back to the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. So
interesting. Okay.
yeah,
Now,
so
why?
it's just,
Now, let's learn for a minute. Why is that going to engage me more makeup wise? I mean, I'm showing my vulnerability. I don't know.
so the idea really for these partnerships is testing and learning, because we have 50 million monthly unique users in our apps. And so the idea is how do we create content that isn't just makeup, but it might be makeup adjacent, and that is intriguing and interesting for them to, you know, further using our apps or you know, cross-selling. So it's really like using the big data and understanding like the usage patterns of our users.
So do you consider your role for fun? What do you consider your industry? Beauty? Do you consider yourself technology? Are you SaaS, a type of SaaS? Like what would you consider you as we learn all these new terms? You all
Because I'm overseeing both sides, it is both SaaS marketing and technology, but there is the storytelling that you just naturally see in beauty. And I think that beauty has the best storytelling in marketing across category generally. And so I like to say that I'm half creative and half analytical. And, you know, I'm kind of this weird combination of those two things.
Well, it's funny, when I do this at night, and I said, Dan Rocker, powerful combination. He's the marriage of IT, product, and marketing. I mean, that's just me writing in my little notes, like after really reading and digging a little bit, I'm like, this guy, you come into this cross section, you're this hub in this wheel, which today you can't have product without technology. So that's what I mean about listening for, are we being honest with ourselves? Right? I can't do recruiting without telling people that, I will either post jobs or use AI, but I don't. But am I missing something there? Should I be? I mean, I'm looking at the options and I don't particularly care for them because I still believe getting to know you and your personality type is where you thrive. What makes me an exceptional recruiter. But I can't turn my back on what AI is saying, especially when it's out there. For, in the human resource development field right now, it's a lot of conversation. Just because, that's what I say about being honest with ourselves, So, all right, we ask everybody this. Go ahead. You have something to say?
No, I think that's like absolutely, accurate. It's, I don't like using the word level up, but how are you keeping really at the forefront of what's going on? And as I was saying, the other day, I like Clubhouse is something that just popped on the world and, is a new social media outlet. And yesterday I jumped on and was listening to, a digital marketer that I hadn't heard of before. And everything that he was saying was just wisdom and super intelligent. And I've reached out to him subsequently because he was like, reach out through DM, and I've started a conversation with him. So
yeah,
it's the natural curiosity that's going to keep you in the lead.
No, and you've mentioned a few other like you say, Coursera. So you know what? I'm going to type these in because you sent them to me. Coursera, edX. What is that?
So Coursera, edX, and Udemy are all online coursework websites where you essentially can learn about digital marketing, or you can learn about project management, or machine learning. There's all sorts of coursework. Some of them are free, some of them are for pay. And it's just trying to find places where, because I think you have to get the knowledge and information before you can get the experience and then put the rubber to the
Put the rubber to the road. Yeah, you went back and went to school not to school, but you took certifications along your career.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 certifications, one in digital marketing with General Assembly, and then went back and did one in data analytics because I just saw the amount of data that we were using, and it's beyond just Excel. So it's, figuring out how to create really interesting dashboards for senior execs.
Okay.
To be able to show them weekly or daily what's happening with the business in marketing, to show what the ROI, the return on investment, really looks like.
And that's a whole nother thing too. You've got to love product and understand consumer, but understand how to read this data. We are really a woven web today. And what do you think about when I mentioned that article that's talking all about flexibility, agility, 18 to 24 months, things are turning. So now we're hiring a guy like a Dan that you took it upon yourself to go to Coursera and grab something new so you can bring it to the table, or call that Clubhouse guy. Yeah. I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's for sure. You need to do it. It's like this is table stakes, and it's no longer where you join an organization and you're there for 20 years. It's just not the case. You're not going to sit in the same type of role,
Yeah. And who's going to hurt a little bit, I think, are the L'Oreals and the Estes, because they are still, and there's nothing against all of these big companies. We're a part of them in major, your Targets, your Walmarts. They just can't move that quickly. They don't have the capability. It needs too much flexibility, but they will find new ways, or they will, absorb companies that are doing it because of their roots financially. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I just saw a note from Wendy pop up, and it's true. Like I did hear this, that there is, you're able to take classes with Coursera through the New York State unemployment if you're looking for work. So that's for sure something that's available.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. Please don't leave. Hang out if you want to, guys. We put all, Elaine, somebody said, please, what are the educational programs? They're in there. Coursera, edX, Udemy. General Assembly. And yes, Miss Wendy, I didn't see your face pop in this morning, but good to see you. That's good news that unemployment will help it. All right, so kids, listen, last week, thank you, Dan. Last week, I said that we were going to have we wanted to listen, right? Hello, ding-a-ling, it's all about listening. And I had a poll and I didn't give it to you. So let's do a poll. Let's do a poll, people. Okay, it's called We Listen, but we forgot. We listened and we forgot. So take a minute. It's about virtual breakfast. I should put this together because we're on our year. Next week is our exact year. So I wanted to ask so that I can listen to see what else we would like to get out of our hour together. You know I love spiritual uplift, so that's awesome. That's good. We got to make sure Dan feels love. Speakers, good. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Love you too, Miss Cindy Ray. All right, kids, keep going. We're 69% there. I'll close it at 1 minute and 25 seconds, and it's 1 minute right now. Okay, I am going to end the poll. Let's read it. Share results. Okay. So you know what, guys? I love that that's a piece of for everyone here, because I do believe that this is a great deal of us making sure we keep ourselves positive, growing and learning. So if spiritual uplift is one of the number ones, and then men and women like Dan, and Dan, sincerely, you shared some very insightful things, not only with the coursework, but just that genuine passion to continue to learn and to listen to what's going on. You looked at your job and said, I'm not sure there's a lot of room for me in the future. What should I be doing? So love that. And then we see professional development comes in third. Okay, great. Yeah, you know, the networking's funny, guys, because I do breakout rooms and everybody leaves. So there you go. Cindy's laughing, but it's all good. Okay, what is your most pressing challenge right now? Career transition. Fair enough. So in that career transition piece, there is a place for us to talk and to help you in a different way if you want to get more involved. You would be engaging me one-on-one, and I'll share that in a minute. Interviewing, fair enough. All of these things, your job search and nailing your professional profile, are very, very applicable to what we're talking about the last 2 weeks. Listening to what is going on and what kind of things are transferable. There's curiosity, there's persistence that Robert Dietrich told us last week. Many people, when I ask them their reason and why they feel they've been successful in their careers, say tenacity and learning, right? So that's a piece of your career transition, is figuring out what skills that you're using today that are applicable for the role that you'd like to go into. So in that career transition, it is just a matter of, as I said, eat the frog. Let's feel okay about that. So if this is your most pressing, I will try to talk more about career transitioning and how to function by using your transferable skills, specifically as large companies are saying out loud on paper and doing studies that they are hiring for leadership and emotional intelligence and acumen, just general acumen, over a set skill set. So you're all in a good place for career transition. What would you like to see more of? Okay. So networking and opening an open dialogue within the audience. Fair enough. Love it. Okay. All right. Thank you for giving me this. I appreciate all the info. We will take it, and we will just taking a snapshot because I don't know how else I can have that. Okay. All right. So let's open up to the audience and say hello. Curtis, what's happening in your world? We see you every week. You're adorable. How's everything going? Mute yourself. Unmute yourself. Oh, you're still muted somehow.
There I am. Okay. So now I've just come out of the COVID period. I've just had my second vaccine. So I feel now a little bit freer to get out and begin to get back into the world.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much.
You are welcome, my friend. Thank you for always being here. But have you formally retired? Last time we spoke, you were thinking of retiring.
I'm sort of in that retirement mode, but I'm sort of thinking now to get back into things just to keep busy and keep my contact with people that I used to know in the
Sure.
healthcare industry.
Okay, well, you know the healthcare industry is on fire, so that's a good place
Yes.
to go. That's definitely a great place to go. Alex, I don't know if you are with us or if you are just a picture, but we have yet never met each other, so I'd love to say hello.
Hi, I'm sorry. I actually was just writing the note that I have to run to prep for the 11 o'clock.
Okay,
It's so great meeting you, and
it's great to meet you. Next time you'll introduce yourself. We love having you. Thank you for jumping on.
thank you, and thanks, Daniel, for those words of wisdom. Thanks.
Yeah, I know Daniel shared a lot with us. Lisa Elmanson, can you hear us?
I can, Amy. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. So name, title, and industry, and a little bit about what's going on. And are you listening to what the market is telling you regarding where your next move is?
Sure. Lisa Almesson. I am a franchise advisor. Background is in franchise sales and operations. And as you know, because I'm working closely with you, I am kind of transitioning and looking into different roles within companies. I would say franchising is a little bit split. You have those companies that I think at first thought it's just a little bump, it's going to return to normal, and we talked a lot about that today, is it's not ever going to be the same. And then you have those companies that out of the gate, they invested in new technology, they looked at ways to support virtually, they looked at ways to do their business differently, and they actually increased their sales and are soaring. So there is a split out there. So that's what I'm seeing. And, I'm appealing to more of the successful companies because I think it's a mindset, it's a culture of those that kind of didn't react. I think that it's just maybe the way that their thinking is. And so I want to be more positioned with companies that did react, that did kind of lead. So that's a little bit about me.
No, that's a great thing to say. How do you feel? And you are obviously being agile. Do you feel that I'm just going to ask transparent wise, and you and I do know each other well because we work together, but is there something you've done differently now to position yourself to be more consultative for these companies? Is there something that you had to take your business acumen and do a little bit of a pivot or a reshape so that you're more relevant?
What's really funny, Amy? I've really always been that way.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that the companies were ready for me when I was. So ironically, I'm starting to find that the way I was as a person, this climate is fitting better with me because I'm one who doesn't always follow the rules, although I like processes and procedures, so they're different. And I think that that is a big asset. And I'm able to kind of show some of my positions and what I've done for companies
Yep.
as change agent. So I'm going to say 3 months ago, the conversation was harder. And I'm starting to feel that I'm not having to try as hard
Yep.
now with the conversations. I still feel like I was trying to fit into what they wanted me to be.
Yep.
So, we talked the other day. I feel like there's some transition. I've done so many interviews. And this time around, I'm not settling. I'm not trying to be who they want me to be. I'm trying to be who I want to be because I don't want to be miserable in a company ever again.
Yep. And Cindy Ray's putting up her heart. You might not be able to see her, but I continually agree. And I really appreciate that, Lisa. And, I'm going to share, I'm going to ask you, I don't mean to put you on this spot and it's only your little cute video face, but we work together one-on-one. I'm going to share my one-on-one with people next. What would you say helped the most in the one-on-one when we work together?
This is going to sound crazy, but based on the survey that you just did, I felt, and I know that you're going to agree with this and smile once I say it, I was at a low point. My confidence was low. I had been in transition pre-COVID, and then with COVID, I'm in Michigan, so we are a lockdown state. It's much like New York. I mean, it's very isolating, and I was losing my confidence. And there were many times that I felt that you were able to just see things and pull them back up to remind me. But just the clarity and confidence. I mean, my resume wasn't getting hits. And I know that I can't tell you when I'm submitting, I'm getting replies back. And so it's really made a big difference. And then that next step is being able to mirror that resume with the interviewing skills, which isn't always easy because you have people that know how to interview, and then you have people that don't know what they're doing, and or they're not, I shouldn't say don't know what they're doing, that probably isn't accurate, but they're not as adept at
Yep,
the
interviewing, yeah.
whole process and how to do it and the questions to ask and how to really get information. So I would recommend, if someone hasn't used you for that clarification, to just kind of look at their top skills and how to put it on a resume. Best money that you'll spend, I think.
You're so sweet. Well, I didn't listen. Lisa's on the call. She's not on a lot. I'm going to thank you, Miss Lisa, for the 1-2. I'm going to share with everybody right now. Lisa worked with me one-on-one. It's a 5-week program, and we get together and we reassess exactly what you have done. We realign it to be relevant today. And I think Lisa's speaking of, one of our modules is role playing. And how do you articulate that when you're networking? How do you articulate that when you're on a group like this? How do you articulate that when you interview, so that they leave knowing your relevance, your top skills, and what you can do for that company? To Daniel's point, he's hired now to do 4 different things. He's the hub in the wheel between IT, product, and marketing. He's got to know everything about technology, what the consumer wants, blah, blah. He's got to put that in and spin it when he goes out there. So Lisa's a sweetie pie to say this. We worked together and I enjoyed her immensely, and I'm very glad. And yes, she's interviewing like a cuckoo bird. So that's exciting. And there are new things coming for sure. So if that's something you guys would like to do, I'm going to ask Barry. Pete, you have 2 minutes. Could you find my a calendar call for our team? And then if there's something that you guys are looking for, if you've already had a call with us and you're not 100% interested in coaching, we ask that you hold a minute so we don't get, hit like a brick. But we love speaking to you and seeing if there are places where we can help you in different ways. So that's quite great. I also want to give some good, big fat thumbs up. We had 2 people get jobs in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, you would think as a recruiter, I should have 2 people a day getting jobs. Thank you, Cindy Ray. Yes, congratulations. Right now in this market, that feels very good to us. Right now in this market, to have 2, generally we would have 6 and 8 a month, okay? But that's 2019 and that's the past. We've got to be realistic right now. But companies are sharing with me again, and I said this last week, I have jobs, but I can't use you, AIM, because you're expensive. Now, I'm not expensive, but I am an added expense. So a CFO on the call today, just yesterday, said, Amy, I would like to hire another person. I just have to put in the budget also your fee. Now she said, I'm not trying to be cold-hearted, but don't, you get me the best people and I want to give you this job to fill, but I'm going to be upfront. This is one of my things. So people are filling jobs. They may not pay Amy Cole this minute. They may not be hiring a recruiter. So it's you networking your way into these, I call it the hidden job market, because it would be like introducing yourself to someone on this call and they know internally that they're hiring a new project manager that has logistics and supply chain experience, or they're hiring a strategy of e-com that has all analytics and, consumer packaged goods marketing, right? But it's not out there yet. So that's why the networking piece really matters right now. Yes, you should have a recruiter on your side, and you've got Amy Cole here. So all these, if I don't know you yet, just, I would love to get to know you, and please send me your resume to amy@amycoleconnect.com. But that's what I just want to share with you guys. There are things moving. There's a lot of, yes, there's some motion in the ocean, as we like to say. So I feel it, and I want you to be excited by it and jump in and take on the challenges, but also know that we're right here to sit by your side as we navigate everything. Resumes, interviewing, digital interviewing, LinkedIn, right? How's your LinkedIn looking? Is it your brand? I'm not going to get started. You guys know me. I could go off. But anyway, thank you for coming on, Daniel Rocker. Thank you for being a rock star. Good to see everybody. You're welcome. Happy. And we will see you next Wednesday is our year anniversary. All right, kids, I adore you all. Thank you so much for joining and participating. I'll talk to you later. Bye.